You ask questions, and I answer them.
Is he nuts? What am I talking about? It's super cool because of the judging design.
Boom, watch fam.
What is up, Watch Geeks? Welcome to episode 53 of ASKTNH. I am actually going to take this opportunity on this Tuesday to not answer a question, although I'm sure this question is out there, but to just talk about the Phillips auction. It's funny. I guess my answer is kind of within that question, right? How many auctions took place this weekend? Anyone know? And all I give a shit about is Phillips. Yeah, and that's sad because there are plenty of wonderful people, great people at other auction houses, right? There are plenty of, super experts working, everywhere, Christie's, etc., Antiquorum. It doesn't matter. And yet all we care about is Phillips. And I don't think that we're not at fault. It's everyone else is at fault, I posted an article about Paddock yesterday on Theo Harris. Put the link below, Anna. And it was about, yes, you make great watches, but your website is absolute horse shit. Right? So that kind of takes the idea of, okay, yes, you do what you're supposed to do very well, but there is a lot more to it. You're not running a lemonade stand. You're running a real big company. And if you expect to ever turn around the status quo of sales, if you ever expect to turn around losses, which they're happening, then you have to grab the community by the balls and say, okay, now I'm going to change the way people are talking about something, change the way my company is being viewed, or something like that. And that is exactly what Phillips did in almost every aspect. I'll go down to their logo, Phillips in association with Box and Russo. The way that looks, just aesthetically alone, I'm not gonna say it's pretty, but it's the most professional, clean, modern, and yet classic design you could possibly ask for, right? And yeah, oh no, it doesn't matter. Yes, it matters. Of course it does. That was probably a huge variable that went into constructing this company. And of course, they have Oral Box. The mega, auctioneer, probably one of the best guys for the job, right? At least, if not best, the most iconic auctioneers in the last, probably, I don't know how long he's been working, but in the last ever I've known, right? It is an image. That day-date sale, it was funny. The day-date sale, right? It's the most ostentatious, ridiculous, ugly, perfectly ugly watch ever made, right? And it got attention. That was the perfect way to start their business, by saying everyone has to look at us, right? And whether I'm sure they made money on it, I'm sure they did, but whether or not they did, even if they lost $500,000 in that sale, they still won, right? Because they started off the slate. They started off their record with a big old W. With a big, we made day dates, not only did we find the coolest day dates, but we sold them for a ton of money. So it's the image that surrounds Phillips. I don't even want to talk about watches. Honestly, I really don't, because it's so relevant. The watches that were sold, the prices do not reflect the market at all. Dealers want you to think they do. Blogs want you to think they do so that they can charge you more and get commission on the sales that they'll help make about watches that are way overpriced now. Steel Wittnauer selling for $1,400, $1,600, $1,900, $2,200, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. Every time that I've got my hands on one, I've sold it for $700, $800, $900 the most. Because I'm still making profit, and everyone does. When you're a dealer, you can do that, But they're selling it for $3,000 because steel chronos was the theme of a Phillips auction. It's fucking ridiculous. So of course they want you to think that it matters. Of course they want you to think that this is the be-all and end-all, and the market is now changed. But it's not. So stop thinking it is. There are so many reasons that people are buying these watches for ostentatious prices. There's so many reasons. People have been talking about they're being viewed as an asset class, and they're making their own LLCs and buying watches through them. This is a shout out to my buddy who told me about this. Making LLCs and buying the watches through them so they can declare not a loss. It's like asset rich, cash poor, and somehow they enter some sort of loophole haven for taxes. I don't know how it works. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a Swiss billionaire, but I do know that these watches are not necessarily worth the prices they're selling for, right? They're just selling for them because, I don't necessarily know. People have different reasons for how they handle their own money, right? But these people are uber rich people. It's not like they're throwing money out of the window. They're not getting the press for it, which would mean that they're not doing it only for the press. There is no press around the people, but we have to just take a step back and understand that not only is Phillips a magnificent, magnificent company that I would absolutely love to work for, but that the buyers who are making them, just as magnificent, are not buying them for the reasons that other people want us to think they are. You know, these watches aren't worth what they're being sold for, and people can argue me on that all day long, but I won't even engage in the argument. It's ridiculous. You know, a Daytona, like, you know, 6263, whatever, and it's not worth the million and a half it's sold for. It's a ridiculous number. It's an arbitrary number. You know, it's a number that happened when tensions got hot, and people decided, okay, whatever, I have it, so, you know, I'll write it off as a loss. I don't know what it is. But just take a step back, you know, remember that the market isn't changed, and don't let someone else rob you because they're trying to make you think it is. Those are my thoughts on the Phillips auction. Thank you guys for watching episode 53 of AskTNH. Two things before you go. The first is if you want live updates on Theo and Harris's thoughts and shit, follow us on Snapchat at Theo and Harris. And the second is check out our Paddock article from yesterday. I genuinely think it's one of the best articles that has hit theoandharris.com in a year, or ever, because we're only a year old. So it's about the website and how it's fucking horse shit. They need to change it. Check it out. Thanks for watching.